I am completely messed up. But with the time here being different, because I'm now in Eastern Standard instead of Mountain, my computer thinks it's Mountain still. I am really messed up. So I'm just going to go for it. If you show up, fine. If you don't show up, fine. I will just go ahead and do this. My name is Suzanne Titkemeyer, and I used to write for Pathos for nearly 10 years, a column called No Longer Quivering, where I talked about fundamentalism, Quiverfull movement, all sorts of different aspects of evangelical religions. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. I'd appreciate if you do that. Hey, Saturn. Hey. And these are just my opinions, my considered opinions, I'm just going to say. And what else am I supposed to say? I'm so dinged out today as usual. Allergies are bad here. Okay. Don't bully anybody I talk about. Hey, Jackie. Okay, I got to show you guys something because this is the funniest thing of all time for me. I bought new glasses. As you can see, I have a new pair on. Hey, Karma Kid. I have a new pair of glasses on and I like them, but these are not my YouTube glasses. Hey, Dances in the Rain. Let me show you my new YouTube glasses. I was inspired because these new glasses are identical almost to a pair I had when I was 8 years old and I had to start wearing glasses. Hey, Plays in the Rain. Yes, I have Randy Rainbow Cat Eyes with jewels in the corner, and I cannot be happier about it. I got them in blue instead of Randy's distinctive pink because pink doesn't suit me. Blue does every time. And like I said last time, I'm playing with this thing every time we have to make a prediction on this channel because every time people make predictions and say, I feel, I know, whatever, you know what happens? It's always a bunch of crazy. I am sorry about that, Karma. Is anybody else cutting in and out, or is it just Karma? Because I know sometimes it does that and sometimes it doesn't. If it's doing it for everything and everyone, I'll just go out and start anew. I'll try to start anew. So here we are. I am in suburban Maryland right now, and I had an interesting experience this morning. Casey. Okay. Yeah, you do that, Karma. Okay, so today I saw for the first time in a long time what people are talking about when they're talking about food deserts. Now, if you know anything about me, you know I believe in feeding everybody. That's just the Cajun part of me. I feed everybody. I eat. I love to cook. It's my thing. Before I came on here, I was actually just bundling up the last of the wedding stuff and putting it in the freezer. The stuff that was good and throwing a whole lot of what was not good out. Okay, so I went to a Walmart. It was the closest one to here, and I'm here in suburban Maryland in sort of a mixed neighborhood. There's every kind of ethnicity you could think of in this neighborhood. This used to be a predominantly African American area. Hey, nobody. Um, yeah, that's Costa Rican food, and I have that picture. And so I ran into this Walmart because there was a couple of things I needed. My crochet hook disappeared. I usually lose one or two every time I travel. Today was no exception. I lost one. So I had to go get a pile of them again and put them somewhere where they would not lose. And this was a super Walmart, and they did have groceries. Here's the weird thing about what they had there. Vegetables or fruit. They had a small aisle with a little bit of milk and eggs and things like that. And everything else was a desert of listening, waiting for the door chime to come on. Everything else was canned and processed and on the shelf. They had a ton of that stuff, a ton of the cheapest canned and processed foods. Now, I'd heard tell of food deserts before, but this has been a while since I've seen one. Usually you only find them in predominantly extremely poor areas, and this is not what I would call a poor area, but we're sandwiched. DC is not far away at all, so maybe it's the overfill of DC coming out, and that's why it's a food desert in that little area of Maryland. Because I was pretty horrified when I saw that. It's like no bananas, no nothing. Can't even get baking potatoes. Not a thing. Now they had frozen foods, some frozen foods, but not many. So I started looking and thinking, and I started thinking about what happened in Quiverfull. And by Quiverfull Church, we had people that suffered from food insecurity. And there are places in rural Virginia that are food deserts where you can't get fresh fruits and vegetables. Um, Used to be food in Madison County, which was near where we lived. For a long time, it was kind of a food desert unless you went to the Mennonite store, and then it would be just fresh potatoes and apples and whatever was in season, and you were kind of bound to that unless you went to Charlottesville or down to Culpeper. I was not expecting to see a food desert right next to the nation's capital. To me, that's a scary thing. Everybody should have access to apples and bananas and broccoli and things, baked potatoes, things like that. The things that are healthy for you instead of all this processed nonsense. It makes me ill. I can't eat it. And so when I knew everybody at my old church, so many people lived in those areas where it was a food desert, and they didn't have a lot of money. You had a lot of Quiverfull families where they were trying to make do with one salary, usually a pretty substandard salary because the husband would be working for himself or farming or something like that. So be trying to establish a business, not making a whole lot of money for the first 5, 10 years, which is pretty normal in business. You don't always make $1 zillion when you go into business. It takes a while to build up. So these people would eat whatever they could get at the Dollar Tree. Not saying the Dollar Tree didn't have bargains on food, because they do. It's just is not the healthiest combination of things there. But I knew people that on Sunday mornings when we would prepare. Hey, Kifa, my daughter's dog is coming to say hi. Hey, Kifa. So when you would prepare the Sunday morning hospitality thing we had afterwards, donuts and fresh rolls and whatever, invariably there would be the same group of children that would come and stand there and eat and just eat and eat and eat till you were full. I was mad at first. I'm not going to lie to you. I was mad. It's like, move along, stop eating all the cheese and donuts. But after a while, I started to realize these were all families where the husband either worked some kind of very low wage job, minimum wage job, and had this pile of kids, or he worked for himself and he had fluctuating income. And these kids would tell me that what they got on Sundays from us in the church after church was the only breakfast and lunch they got, which is a sad thing. So a lot of us, what we started to do would be to send food home with these kids. Those of us that had enough to be able to do that. I had one family that I knew pretty well in my Quiverfull days that would show up at my doorstep every single, at least 2 or 3 times a week, at least. And they had a large family, and our sons were best friends. And it was a really hard thing to turn them away. But eventually I had to start doing it because they had run my grocery bill up astronomically. And I was working full time. My husband was working full time. We weren't, we weren't hurting for money like they were, but we really couldn't feed their family either every night either. I finally just referred them back to our pastor because I couldn't do anything else. I had the worst day in the world, and they just showed up on top of it. It snowed in the middle of the night after WUSA 9 and the other channels had told us that it was going to slide off north of us and we might get a little rain. I woke up to like 6 inches of snow. I had to wait till they plowed our street out to go to work. I took my kids to daycare because the school had been canceled that day. So I was going to owe a daycare bill. I started off to work and my car broke down. I had to walk a block and a half in the snow to get somebody to tow my car. I had to get a cab to work. It was dripping snow like crazy. Got to work. It was a terrible, busy, awful, horrible day with my insane boss that I had at the time. I get off. I pick up everybody from daycare. And hey, Aaron. And then I'd done something I rarely did. I went to the deli this deli I knew in the downtown where we were living, and got this lasagna and a green salad of bread ready to go for us. We just had to heat and eat. And it was about 4 servings. Put it in the oven, was stripping off my soaking wet snow wear that I was already in trouble with at work. They said, "You are not dressed professionally." He said, nobody's going to see me. B, it's snowing out there. Of course, I'm going to wear snow boots and proper pants and the whole 9 yards instead of a business suit. So I was troubled for that. So I got home and it was just the worst day. I'm doing okay. I'll talk about that in a second. So got home, stuck lasagna in the oven. Our doorbell rings. It's that family. It's the family with 8 kids that wants me to feed them. And we sat there and sat there and sat there until finally they said, "Aren't you going to invite us to the table?" I had to say, "I don't have enough food for you guys. There is nothing for me to prepare. You've drained my grocery budget dry with your family. I can't feed you tonight." And they said, "Well, what are we supposed to do?" I referred them to the Methodist Church, who I knew would at least give them gift cards to get food, because I just couldn't anymore. It was just too much. And that was pretty common in our old church, that there were a lot of people that had those kinds of food issues, had food insecurity, thought that using food stamps and age-dependent children was some kind of government scam. They wouldn't even sign up for WIC. They thought it was given into the devil to do that, yet they were letting their children go hungry for an ideological point. Add in the fact that a lot of these very rural areas were food deserts with just processed foods, and you have a recipe for disaster and ill health, I think, in the future. So being quiverfull doesn't guarantee you of anything. It certainly doesn't guarantee you food. And that's not to say that we didn't chip in to feed people when they had hard times or they're in the hospital or whatever. We did. It's just such an overwhelming problem. So it was overwhelming today to go in there and see that this Walmart on the edge of a Black and Latino community had nothing of nutritional value in there at all, if you didn't count the eggs and the milk that they had in there. So yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm starting to recover finally from the traveling and from the go. I was just telling my son, I'm kind of an introvert. So I am not real outgoing. And if I have to people too long, I start getting grouchy. And I got really grouchy on this trip because one of my husband's friends I don't even want to say the word he is. It's something horrible. He's something horrible. And his horrible was affecting me this trip. We stayed with him for 2 days. It was not a good experience. And then when he started coming over here and pushing his way in and acting obnoxious, it was not. Yes, I got new glasses. I got new crazy glasses. They are exactly like the pair I had when I was 8. So I'm real happy with these glasses. Also, my prediction methods for what's happening in Without a Box of Kleenex's life and others is my new prediction method. I got to say again, I'm horrified by the fact that Todd Chrisley was convicted. I didn't think, listening to what evidence they had on him, they were going to convict him, but sure enough, they did. I guess Eric Hunley on civil law was right. He said he thought that Todd would be convicted, but I'm not saying it's over and out for Todd. Todd is got a big spirit and a lot of courageousness, and I think he's going to bounce him back from this. So will Todd get out of this mess, or will he go to jail? Will he get out of this mess? It is decidedly so. So Todd, I'm going to just think that is you. And you're going to get out of this mess, because I'm a big believer in that. What else did I say I was going to talk about today? I don't even know. I'm just kind of like, oh, I know, culture. I'm in culture shock, you guys. Why? Well, first of all, prices have gone through the roof here in the U.S., where they have not gone anywhere near that high in Costa Rica on any of the same things. They've gone up some, but not so much as to be crazy. I went through Starbucks this morning and got a tiny little breakfast sandwich and a coffee, and it was $9. Um, I hope how soon she is off social media. Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice, but who knows? I know that him going to jail is not going to stop his lawsuit against Without a Box of Kleenex. It doesn't affect his lawsuit against her at all. He has asked for her lawsuit to be excused, the one against him that she filed in retaliation for him suing her. We knew something big had gone down this weekend, but not what it was, because she was bashing everyone. Someone came in here yesterday to tell me that she was bashing me again. I was kind of like, so what? So, baby, that's kind of the way it is. Did you hear about her going after All Things Sassy? Yes, I did. And I am sorry to see that, because All Things Sassy is quite nice. And the whole narrative that was spun is just wrong on every count. I don't like to jump into other creators' nonsense too much. I was freaking out last weekend over Carolyn Ironwell, and that is apparently still conflicting and going on. I haven't been able to look at it because I've been busy with family and friends. Thank God for that regard. So I haven't hardly looked at the internet like I normally. I saw that she went after Sassy, that she doxed Tina. I'll cut you. I think she doxed somebody else. A couple of doxes. Maybe it was All Things Sassy. She said some ugly things about All Things Sassy's husband that don't really need to be blasted out. They don't. They don't. And I gotta say this. Okay. I don't like the Hogs. You know that very much at all. I feel sorry for Mrs. Hogg. I think she's going through some stuff and has been gone through some stuff, some of which may be self-inflicted. But as much as I don't like the Hogs, I don't like people digging up every little crazy little jot and tittle of information, where they've lived, if they've been charged with things. It's kind of like not done. You just don't do that stuff. Even if a creator is a Jack ASS, you just don't do that. I don't think going real life is good for anybody at this time. So there's too much of that going on. And when I saw what was going on, had happened this last weekend while I wasn't around, I said, well, something is coming down legally. Must be, because if something is coming down, then we're going to hear about it in some way. She's going to start flipping out and it won't be good. Oh, well, that's her. We know that's how she is. We know when she's spinning and accusing everybody for everything under the sun, that something big is legally coming down. That's just her methods. And the whole thing with the culture here for me has been such a big shock. I was in Walmart this morning, like I said. It's supposed to be a super Walmart with food, and prices were, I guess they're pretty decent in Walmart. I don't know, because I haven't been here much of anything, but everything I bought was a pretty reasonable price, I think, except I was surprised at some of the bedrock basic things that have gone up. I paid almost $4 for a packet of canning lids, which I can't get in Costa Rica. I can get canning jars out the wazoo, but I can't get the lids. It doesn't make any sense. Yes, she went after Charlotte. I saw that too. That's not done. You just don't do that. No matter, you can like other creators or dislike them without having to tear them down and say ugly things about them all the time. But when she's got things going on, this is just the way it's just the way she acts. I don't know why. This is her jam, but it most certainly is her jam. I don't think it's going to play out well for her. Okay. Will she lose her channel of this nonsense? Outlook, not so good. That woman must have a pact with the devil. That's all I can say. So we've paid $5 a gallon for gas here. That's kind of high for the States. I was surprised at the prices of simple things like the canning lids, like stupid things like like thread and needles. I had to pay more than I usually pay for that sort of thing. So I don't know what's going on in the States here, but everything is costing a lot more. And I'm feeling kind of freaked out because there's all these things available. It's like when I walk in the store here, I'm like, because it has way more things than you can get in Costa Rica. Even though I got to say, I ran around looking for freezer paper, freezer tape, and the pen that you write on the freezer tape with, and had to go to a number of stores before I found that stuff. So it'll be curious and interesting to see what happens with this world, with the economy here and the economy elsewhere. I think that it may get worse here. I saw the stock market went down, it plunged the other day. I'm so glad I got out of the stock market. I got out over a year ago because I started thinking were due for a good downturn, and it has happened. Even Bitcoin crashed the other day, but it'll come back up. Who knows? So here's the thing. I hate talking about that without a box of Kleenex, but she has done so many horrible things lately. It's kind of hard not to at least say, don't go real life, don't pay her any mind, and that this stuff is happening. I think also that 7M is looming on the horizon. They have already filed, and we're just waiting for everything to go with that. So what things have you seen go up a crazy amount of money recently? Stuff you normally buy. I mean, I'm over there in Tico Land, and I don't get to see every price jump. And when I find stuff at the Do It Center or the Auto Mercado, I've learned to just snap it up when I see it, even if the price is high. I was waiting to hear what you would say during the weekend. Saturday, what was I doing Saturday? I went to my old town. I went to see some friends of mine in a place called Jeffersonton, and we went to a brewery and I hung out. And one of my best friends in this entire world, oh wow, Dollar Tree lover. One of my best friends has had 2 strokes, just about like I have had, and she's not recovering well. So I had to go. I spent 2 days with her, just talking to her and hanging out with her and commiserating, because I think part of recovery, and I think this goes for any chronic illness, part of that is having somebody whose shoulder you can cry on, who's not going to judge you because they know what you're dealing with. I think that's a big part of it. I'm going to try to stay more in touch with her now that I know what's going on. In fact, I may go stay with her for a week or 2. And you may get to see the inside of her house. Her house is beautiful. Oh, you didn't make me upset. You didn't make me upset at all. I just couldn't believe I could believe what I was seeing. And I was just like, yeah, this is her pattern. When things aren't going well with her lawsuits, she turns around and attacks the crap out of everybody. And she also blames hacks and what was it? Swatting. She blames all of that. And her target changes all the time on that. And the sad thing is, I hate to tell her, she keeps blaming all of us and saying, they did this and that to my son. I don't know anyone. I genuinely do not know anyone that wishes her child ill. I've just never run across that anywhere in our community, even when people are fighting with each other and said, hey, you did this and you did that. I've never seen that. And there's a lot of that goes on in this community, because yesterday I had somebody saying that I was saying certain things. It's like, show me the money, show me that I said it. And they had to back off and say, oh, I was confusing you with somebody else. Well, yeah, because that's not something that I would say do. It's just not. I don't believe in going real life. I don't believe in doing that kind of crap. I'm a big believer that you just sit back and let karma come around. I think when you try to make things happen, you earn bad karma for yourself. And I don't know about you, but I don't want any more bad karma. I don't want another stroke. I don't want anything else bad to happen to me. It's bad enough that I'm here now and I don't even know when I'm going back. And I don't have a car. I don't have a new car. I'm getting a new car, but not right now. Yeah, she was off like Banshee and marbles this weekend. I see it definitely getting her. It is. And that's actually kind of what I'm afraid of for her. Just because I don't like what she does not mean that I want her to have a breakdown. I do not. I want her to wake up to what she's got in front of her that she is putting at risk and realize it and do what she needs to do to end that. Not to end that in that way, but I mean to put down the computer and um, pay attention to her kids. You know, I had to do that at one point because I was starting to go off the deep end many years ago, over 20, with some computer thing that I don't even want to talk about. But I got as involved as she and others get involved, and I had to have a reality check. Everybody needs them every now and then. I've gotten better about deciding when my mental health is impacted and taking a break. I mean, this weekend I could not have got on because I was just exhausted after all the traveling and the wedding. The wedding was beautiful. I'm just going to have to say that again. The wedding was beautiful. The wedding was absolutely incredible. My daughter was super beautiful, I have to say. To me, at least she was. They made the dog part of the wedding, which was really funny at points. His parents were crying. We were crying. I saw Uncle Jim crying. I saw one of the bridesmaids boohooing. It was just that kind of a wedding. And the vows they wrote to each other were just very moving. I'm kind of upset that I didn't know that it wasn't being videoed. The only videoing that we got was when I pulled out my iPad and videoed my husband dancing with our daughter. And the first dance between the bride and the groom, and the bride and the groom coming into the hall all having a good time. The groom was doing all these wrestler poses and things. It was pretty damn funny. I just laughed. There were so many touching and funny moments. I got to walk my daughter down the aisle with my husband, and that was good. It was so much fun. The food was great. The company was great. It was a beautiful day. It was one of the few nice, warm, sunny days that I've seen since I got here. And now I'm going to have to go lay down. my asthma is going haywire here because of the pollen. And yesterday I went and got my COVID booster, so I'm feeling a little weird as a result. I wasn't sure I was going to do it, but I walked into Wegmans yesterday and they had the sign out. We have the boosters. We're giving them right now. And I was like, okay, let's do this. It was time to get one. So all of you, take good care. Hug your people you love. The people in the real people in your life that you love, just hug them and tell them how special they are to you. Smile at somebody today and make their day. That's one of the things that I'm really enjoying about being here is just making eye contact with people and smiling, because that doesn't happen in Costa Rica very seldom. People are pretty self-contained. Now the Ticos will help you, but the Americans won't. So it's a big cultural difference for us because this is just very different. Zoom, zoom, zoom. I'm almost afraid to drive, except that after a few days being here, having to hop on I-95 and 495 to go around the city to get here and there and everywhere, it started to become kind of routine. Now, my husband and I were talking about looking at Annapolis area to maybe move when we come back because we both liked it, but I'm betting that we're going to be priced out, but who knows? If we ever decide to come back to the States, Annapolis is on the list along with Virginia Beach and other places. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go. Love you.